Hi guys, Aidan Lee here from FitRoots, and today we're going to be talking about the 5 signs of a bad martial arts school. Your first martial arts class should be really interesting and extremely exciting. However, most people have the perception that when they go to their first class, it's either going to be old school dojo like Fight Club and they might get beaten up, or it's going to be like karate when they were a kid and they're practicing endless forms and katas in the air for nothing. We wanted to make sure you know the top 5 signs to look out for so you can save money, time, energy, and make sure you're safe. Sign number 1 is black belts. So lots and lots of black belts, and also black belts given out to kids. And unfortunately, a lot of kids these days are receiving black belts when they shouldn't actually have them. So a couple of reasons for that, or a couple of things to look out for, is if it's taken them a really short amount of time to get it, then you know it's probably not legit. And secondly, if they've received that and they're not really that competent and they aren't really able to defend themselves, it's really not that ethical. So there's something to think about there. If you see loads of black belts, probably a sign to stay away. So many martial arts schools do this just to make sure the kids or the adults or even the parents stick around for good. But the problem is, once they receive that black belt, they realize that it's a waste of time and money because it doesn't actually result in real practical self-defense. Sign number 2 is gradings, and that's lots of gradings. So just like sign number 1, you want to make sure that students there aren't being progressively graded every single year or multiple times a year, especially if they haven't earned it. Anywhere where children are black belts, they normally give them within 2 to 4 years, and that's even for children and adults. But any reputable place will take at least 6 to 10 years for a student to receive such an esteemed grade. The reason why this is done though is just to keep people around, and also to make sure that students pay for multiple gradings either throughout the year or every year. Sign number 3 is that you're not taught about any of the mental aspects of martial arts. By definition, martial arts means the art of war. So actually you can't just focus on the physical, the war-like part, you have to also focus on the arts, which is the mental side, the philosophy and the psychology. And what most people who understand martial arts and self-defense know already is that if you do ever get into a situation, you have to know how to stay calm, manage your emotions, and be aware of yourself and your surroundings. And that will only come once you actually understand the philosophical aspects of martial arts. And martial arts is really inherently tied historically to philosophy and psychology, and the best martial artists are the ones who actually master their minds as well as their bodies. And you're not just going to learn how to kick and punch, go to a place which serves both mental and physical. Sign number 4 is student to teacher ratio. Now there's a term in the industry called McDojos, and what that means is, just going off the name McDonald's, like really bad places which teach basically fake or illegitimate martial arts, which can get you into some serious trouble. Now a big problem there is that when you have the wrong student to teacher ratios, what you'll find is if there's 30 kids or adults or whatever class, and there's only one instructor, or there's one instructor and some kid instructors who are a part of the instructor training program, you'll find that students who are training and paying for their training aren't actually being corrected on their techniques, or they don't know what to do. So if you don't know actually how to correct yourself to apply the techniques, what will happen is that eventually, class after class, month after month, and year after year, you won't actually get that much better. So you want to make sure that you're in an environment where the students and your friends are at either a similar level to you, or you're working with similar partners as you go through your classes. And possibly the worst part of this is that even though you're not learning legit self-defense, and that's a problem in itself, if you're not being corrected and you don't know how to use your body in the right way, it could potentially lead to injuries, dysfunctions, and further problems down the road. So we want to make sure those are stopped right here and right now. Sign number 5, and this is a biggie, is practicality. You obviously want to make sure that what you're learning could actually work if, touch wood, you actually had to use it in a real life situation. There's some key telltale signs here, and one way you can really see it and really see that what you're learning is not that practical is that whenever the techniques or the combinations are being demonstrated, they're only being used on students who are compliant. And normally when this happens, it's when the sensei, which means instructor, or sifu, which is the Chinese equivalent, the student is one of the higher ranked students, and they'll basically relax when the person is doing it. And that's always a good sign that what they're doing is actually not working, because it should work against anyone within reason. So you have to make sure that what you're learning is practical, effective, and if you ever had to use it, you would be able to use it in a safe and effective manner. On top of this, what you'll find is when these arts or martial arts schools aren't practical, they'll also perform techniques in a set patterns. And this is not a criticism of katas or things like that where they have forms, which is a set sequence of movements. But when someone says, for example, if someone does X, you do Y, the problem is reality just doesn't work like that. Reality is not going to tell you what's coming at you. You are just going to have to adapt to what is in front of you. And the only way you can do that is if you're ready for any and every situation. So that's the 5 signs to look out for in a bad martial arts school. So if you or your child are looking to get into martial arts, then you need to be aware of these 5 signs just so that you have a great experience. And we want to make sure that you have the best journey possible, starting martial arts right from a beginner all the way up to expert. I'd love to know what your experience are with martial arts schools, whether you're a novice or an expert, and if you've actually witnessed or experienced any of these signs yourself. And also if you actually have more signs which you think would be useful for other people to know. Feel free to leave your comments and questions below, and I'll personally get back to you and make sure we can engage in great conversation. Otherwise, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this content, and we'll see you guys soon.